Hello! So, as you can probably tell from the title of this video, I have diabetes, and I've had diabetes for like 3 weeks. It's a rather recent diagnosis. And this is going to be my diagnosis story. Um, yeah. So where I'm starting in the story doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but like it makes sense in my head with other things. So here we go. So I was an extra in a movie, and we were shooting for 2 days. And the building that we were shooting in, like, okay, an extra, okay, extras usually have a lot of free time. They aren't always on set. Um, and where we were, the building that we were shooting in didn't have any Wi-Fi. The building that we were like had as our like hanging out place had Wi-Fi, but it was like really bad Wi-Fi. Um, and there wasn't really a lot to do. I had homework the first day that I could like do, but the second day I didn't. Um, but so basically, whenever I wasn't shooting, I'd pretty much just be hanging out in craft services, and I would just drink like lemonade and water when I was bored. And it wasn't really for any reason. It was I had nothing to do. I would sit down and I would fill up my glass of lemonade. And when I was done with my glass of lemonade, I'd fill it up with more lemonade. And I literally had no reason for doing it. I wasn't thirsty. I was just it's just what I did. I had everything to do. Um, so I was basically drinking lemonade and water all the time for 2 days that I was on set, just because I was bored. When I stopped filming, like literally the day after, I started getting really thirsty all the time, and I like thought that it was because I had been drinking so much liquid for 2 days straight, and now I wasn't. And my body was like, whoa, we need more liquid. Like, that's what I thought. It made sense to me. Like, even now, like, that makes sense. So, for like a week of me being thirsty all the time, I attributed it to the fact that my body, for some reason, thought it needed more liquid because of the fact that I had been drinking so much liquid for 2 days straight. Um, so, obviously, with drinking water all the time, you get the frequent urination, and I wasn't really worried about that too much because the thing is when you have frequent urination, it's not really a problem if you are peeing a lot and if your urine is clear, because that means you're hydrated. So I'm like, okay, well, obviously I'm just like really hydrated. And I actually was feeling like the effects of being really hydrated. Like I wasn't getting any headaches. I live at 7,000 feet. I get headaches a lot because of the altitude. Um, and I was like, well, I'm not getting any headaches. Might be because I'm so hydrated all the time. So yeah, so there was like that whole thing, which for half the time I didn't think was even a problem. So at the beginning of the school year, I went to the eye doctor just for my yearly eye exam. I do, all my doctor's appointments before I go back to school. Doctor, dentist, optometrist. I did that all at the beginning of the year, so it wasn't even like a thing that I was concerned about going into the eye doctor. But yeah, so I went in. They upped my prescription to $375, which is the first time my eyes have been the same prescription in both eyes in like years. So that was like really exciting. But then, like a month later, like I got this done at the beginning of September. A month later, I started not being able to see. So I had this pair of contacts in for like 3 weeks, and you're only supposed to wear the contacts for like 2 weeks, but I kind of wear them until I either lose them, they rip, or they start to fail. And failing means I can no longer see out of them, they won't go in my eye, or they just irritate my eye no matter what I do to them. So this pair of contacts is like 3 weeks old. I couldn't see out of them, and I'm like, okay, I'll just get another pair of contacts. Like that's not even like a weird thing for me. So I put in a new pair of contacts, and it was fine. Until a few days later, when the same thing happened again, and I was like, I've only been wearing these contacts for a few days. They shouldn't be being weird. So then I put in a different pair of contacts, and they were actually felt worse than the previous pair I was wearing. And I was like, okay, well maybe like the contacts are bad or something. And then I put on my glasses, and I couldn't see out of my glasses, and I'm like, okay, like this is a problem. So I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, I need to go to the eye doctor because I can't see out of my glasses or my contacts. So I went to the eye doctor, and he's like only an eye doctor. He like doesn't know all this stuff because he's only for the eyes. So they upped my prescription to 4. And he told me that my near sight was being strained, and that my eyes were drying out. So I got a new prescription, new contacts, new glasses again, literally a month after I got my new prescription. So I got that figured out, got new glasses, got new contacts. And then, like, the Wednesday after that, I started feeling fatigued. And on that Wednesday, it was really bad, and that was, like, really the only day it was ever really a problem. But, I don't know, I was just so fatigued, like, the entire day. And I actually called my mom that day because I had cracked heels. And they were, like, really hurting. And I called her, and I was like, what do I do for cracked heels? And she, like, told me how blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, hey, is there, like, any medical concern for being thirsty all the time? And she's like, oh, well, you're at a really high altitude, so you need to be drinking a lot of water anyways. And it's really dry up there, so that could be why your mouth is dry. And I was like, all right, whatever. But then she's like, but if you start, like, feeling tired in the middle of the day, we might have a problem. And I'm like, what kind of a problem? And she's like, oh, well, Grandma G had type 1 diabetes. And I'm sitting here like, of course. Because literally every single problem I had, I'd always look it up on the internet to see if it was an actual problem or if it was just like normal. Frequent urination, that's normal if you're hydrated. Blurry vision, that's normal if you have bad eyes. So I'm like looking at all these things, and all of them are like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. And then like on the tiny corner at the bottom of the page, it's like, but you could also have diabetes. So I'm sitting here like, So, but she was like, okay, well, just like monitor your fatigueness for like a week. And if it's like the same, if you're like still fatigued or if it gets worse, you should go get a glucometer test. And I was like, okay. But my plan was that if I was fatigued on Thursday and Friday, that I was going to go into the urgent care on Friday. So Thursday, I woke up and I was fatigued in the morning when I was getting ready. But by the time I got to class, I was fine. I was like, okay, what? Like, am I getting better? Was it just yesterday? Was I just having a bad day? Around 12:45, when I went to my astronomy class, I felt fatigued again, just for like a few minutes. It wasn't like a big thing. And then I went grocery shopping at after my last class, and I literally got home, put my groceries away, and then crashed on my couch for 2 hours. So there was that. Oh, and then also, that was the day in my directing class, I was just sitting, like, on my phone, and one of the guys in my class, like, walks up to me, and he's like, you don't look so good. And I, like, look up at him, and I'm like, well, I might not be good. And that was kind of, like, a big thing for me. I mean, my one friend thought it was really rude of me to say that, but I actually kind of appreciated it a lot because it meant that somebody else could tell that something was wrong with me, and it wasn't just like me in my head and the medical diagnosis is up the internet. Um, so I actually kind of like really appreciated him saying that. And then that night, I was Skyping my friend. She originally told me she couldn't Skype until Saturday, but I texted her and I was like, hey, I know you just got back from astronomy, and you're probably really tired and probably haven't eaten yet, but I'm trying to figure out something right now, and I kind of want to talk about it with someone. And she's like, yeah, sure, okay. So she gets on Skype. I like tell her all the things, and she's like, yeah, I think you should go to the doctor. And I'm like, okay. Like, that was, like, the thing that actually made me want to go to the doctor. So, Friday morning, wake up relatively early. The urgent care, we have an urgent care on campus. The urgent care opens at 9 a.m. I think I got up at, like, 7 or something. I took the bus because I live on South Campus. I went to Starbucks, and then I went to the urgent care. And you put your symptoms into the little computer when you first get there. It's like how you check in. So I put all my symptoms, get in the waiting room, and a few minutes go by, and someone calls me into the like area. And she like sits me down and she goes, okay, so you are describing symptoms that often appear in diabetes. So we're going to need to run some tests on you, but you need a half-hour appointment to do all those tests. So you need to come back at 10 because that's when our first appointment opens up. I'm like, okay. So I leave the urgent care. I'm still like in the same building, but I'm not like in the urgent care. I'm like sitting outside the urgent care. And I call my mom and I'm like, hey mom, so I'm at the urgent care. I'm going to get my blood sugar test. I'm going to get my blood sugar tested. And she's like, oh, okay. So I went back at 10 o'clock, and they took me in, and the first thing they do, obviously when you go to urgent care, clinic, anything, is weigh you. And previously I had been 145 pounds. They weighed me in at 132, so I lost 13 pounds, but it wasn't really like a noticeable weight, especially since that's kind of actually a more healthy weight for me to be at. It goes with my BMI better than my previous weight. So yeah, and then they like brought me into the room and stuff, and they did the blood sugar test. The first time the machine wasn't reading it, it was like taking forever to read the thing. So they did it again, and it read just as high because most glucometers don't go over 500. So it read as high. So they did it a third time to confirm the high reading, and then they took some blood to do like lab tests and stuff, and then I did a urinalysis. And then so my nurse, her name is Wendy, she's awesome. My nurse, after we did all these tests and stuff, was like, okay, so your they didn't get an accurate reading of my blood sugar, but they were like guesstimating. They're like, okay, so we think your blood sugar is probably around 500, which means that you could probably actually be treated in Phoenix if you wanted to be, because Phoenix is 2 hours away from where I am right now. But we called my mom, and my mom was like, no, she's going to Flags, and I want her organs to fail. I probably would have been fine if I had been to Phoenix, but whatever. So I went to the ER, the Flagstaff Medical Center, and they asked me all the questions. They took the blood tests, the blood sugar, blah, blah, blah. And they admitted me into the ER. And I was in the ER for, I feel like most of the day. I don't think I got moved until later. It was sometime after lunch. I probably actually went into the ER around like 11:30 or 12. Because I was actually in the urgent care for more than half an hour. So I think I actually got into the ER at 12. And so they put me on saline and insulin, and oh my god, I was so grateful for this because I'd heard so many horror stories of diabetics who were like extremely dehydrated that they couldn't get the IV in, and I was like so afraid that was gonna happen to me. But they got it in the first time, and I didn't even know they were doing the IV. I thought they were just taking blood. And then I looked down and I'm like, oh, there's like tubes and stuff in my arm. It really hurt, but I'm just glad that they could get it in. And also they were like asking me questions while they were like doing it. So I felt it, but I was still like talking to the doctor, and he was like, "Oh, how are you feeling right now?" I'm like kind of freaking out because there's a needle in my arm, and he's like, "All right." Yeah, and so that really hurt. The other thing they did is they gave me Lovamax, which is like an anti-clot thing, because if you aren't like walking around and stuff, your blood could clot. So they gave me that the first day, and they stick it in your stomach, and that really hurt too. Um, so yeah, so I was in the ER probably until like 4 or 5 maybe. So like I was in there for like a few hours, and then they admitted me into step off, I think, and I got like my own room. So they wheeled me up to step off, and so I was in the hospital, or in step off slash the hospital, for 4 days. It was gonna be 3 days, but the diabetes educator doesn't come in over the weekend, so I had to be there the extra day so the diabetes educator could talk to me. But for the first day, and I think maybe half of the second day, I was on the insulin drip. And then after that, they had me doing injections, which, since the diabetes educator wasn't there, my nurses kind of had to teach me instead, because the diabetes educator is supposed to do that. But my nurses were like, she's probably not going to be here till Monday, even though we're trying to get her to come in. So we're going to teach you all this stuff right now. And I'm like, okay. So they were like teaching me the needles and the blood sugar, the glucometer and stuff. And that was, it was really funny. So I had like 2 sets of nurses. So I have a day nurse and a night nurse, and they work 12-hour shifts. They usually work 7 to 7. So I was on, what day was it? Was it Saturday? No, it was Friday. On Friday, I Skyped Sierra again, and my day nurse had already left. My night nurse was in. His name was Clayton. And I was Skyping my friend, and he would come in every once in a while to take my blood sugar or to give me insulin or something. And she never like saw him, but she was like, he sounds really cute. Is he really cute? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I'm really bad at judging people's attractiveness. So there was that. And then my second night nurse, on Sunday night, his name was Dave. And my day nurse, his name was Diane. Before, I think it was like 6 or maybe 7, and she just hadn't left yet. But she came in and she's like, "Look, I brought you a cute nurse!" And I was just like, it was just really funny. And so I was Skyping Sierra again on Sunday, and I told her about it, and she's like, "Oh my god, that's so great!" So that was funny. And then on Monday, the diabetes educator finally came in to talk to me, because she also gives you the glucometer and all this stuff. And yeah, so I missed both my classes on Monday. I missed my first class because it was at 8 a.m. and I wasn't even out of the hospital yet. My second class was my English class, and I was supposed to take a midterm that day, and technically I could have made it, but I didn't even get back to my apartment until like half an hour before class started, and I was like, nope. So I just took it again on Wednesday. So yeah. I mean, yeah. That is pretty much it. With the the diagnosis story. I think I might start doing like possibly like day in the life videos, because I have to like keep track of stuff, and maybe that's like a good way for me to do it. I don't know. I mean, I've been like logging for, this is my third week logging, um, because my nurse, I went in to see Wendy last week, because my nurses at the hospital suspected that my insulin levels are probably going to have to be adjusted because I was running so high all the time. But my nurse was like, I need more data, because they only had me doing blood sugar tests 4 times a day, and she's like, I need you to do it more than that. I need you to do it before and after meals so I can see like how your body's responding and how the insulin's affecting you and how the whatever. So I don't see her again until the 19th, which is the Thursday before Thanksgiving. I have an appointment tomorrow with, I think she's a dietitian, but I don't really remember. I have an appointment tomorrow with her. And she's also the one who is like the faculty advisor for the diabetes club on campus. So hopefully I can get some information from her about that, because I kind of want to do that, but I don't just want to email random people and then not have it be accurate information. So, okay. Oh, also, so my eyes are still being weird. I don't wear glasses usually. So my prescription was at 4 the week before I went to the hospital, and then the week after I went back to the eye doctor, and my prescription went down to 150. And I don't think I've ever been 150 like in my life. I mean, I probably have, but not like with glasses or contacts, because I should have gotten glasses when I was in 6th grade, but I didn't until I was in 7th grade, so it's probably progressed way past 150. And with my current optometrist, he's only ever seen me in like the 300s. So I went down to 150, but then a week after that, Friday night, I started not being able to see. So right now I'm wearing my old glasses, the ones that are 375. I'm not sure if this is the proper prescription or not, but I can see better out of these than I can out of my contacts that are 150. So I'm wearing these until Friday when I get to go back to the eye doctor and figure out what works best. Yeah. So that's fun. I had to spend $200 yesterday on test strips, which my parents will hopefully pay me back for, because I'm not supposed to be buying all this stuff, because I'm a college student and I don't have a job. So yeah. So that's my story. I got a little off track. I added adding stuff at the end. But there we go. All right. Bye.